Alex Eala just did what the WTA rankings said she couldn't. She demolished the fastest server in tennis history in straight sets. But here's the real shocker. She's now just one win away from a $7.43 million payday that would change Philippine sports forever. The 21-year-old Filipina sensation has been on a revenge tour, avenging losses to her last 6 opponents. And she kept that streak running in Toronto. Dismantling Alycia Parks, the woman who shares the record for the fastest serve in WTA history at 129 miles per hour, in a stunning display of power and precision. Is Alex Eala about to conquer the WTA 1000 and claim the biggest prize in Philippine sports history? The crowd at SoBi Stadium hadn't just come to watch a tennis match. They had come to witness history. And Alex Eala did not disappoint. In just 1 hour and 12 minutes, the Filipina sensation dismantled Alycia Parks 6-3, 6-4 to advance to the 3rd round of the Canadian Open, continuing a revenge tour that has become the defining narrative of her career. The American had beaten Eala in their only previous meeting, a stinging first-round loss at the Australian Open in January, where Parks came back from a 6-0 first-set demolition to win 6-3, 6-2. That defeat had stung. But the Eala who stepped onto the court in Toronto was a completely different player. "I've improved as a player since then," Eala said in her post-match interview, the confidence evident in her voice, and the scoreboard backed her up. From the very first point, Eala's game plan was clear: neutralize Parks' biggest weapon. The American shares the record for the fastest serve in WTA history at 129 miles per hour, a weapon that had overwhelmed Eala in Melbourne. But this time, the Filipina's returning was impeccable. She stood inside the baseline, taking the ball early and denying Parks any rhythm. The first set was a masterclass in tactical execution. Eala broke Parks' serve twice, converting on 4 of her 9 breakpoint opportunities. She won a staggering 63.3% of points on Parks' second serve, a statistic that exposed the American's vulnerability when her first delivery failed to fire. The crowd, overwhelmingly Filipino, erupted with every Eala winner. The second set was more of the same. Parks fought back, holding her serve with authority early on, but Eala's consistency proved too much. The 21-year-old held her nerve, broke Parks' serve in the 9th game, and served out the match with a composed hold to secure her place in the round of 32. The victory extended Eala's winning streak to 6 matches. It also marked her 8th win against a top 10 player this year, solidifying her status as one of the most dangerous players on tour. The $7.43 million WTA 1000 prize pool now beckons, with a potential 3rd-round clash against reigning Wimbledon champion Linda Noskova on the horizon. What would you do if you had avenged every loss that had ever haunted you? For Alex Eala, the answer was simple. She would keep fighting, keep believing, and keep proving that the girl with ruffled socks and light-up shoes had come too far to let the past define her. Habon. The victory was decisive. The revenge was sweet. But when Alex Eala stepped off the court in Toronto, her words weren't about the scoreline. They were about the journey. "I've improved as a player if you compare where I am now to the beginning of the year," Eala said in her pre-tournament press conference, reflecting on the transformation that had brought her to this moment. And the evidence was everywhere. 7 months ago, she had been the one left broken in Melbourne. Now, she was the one walking off the court at SoBi Stadium as the conqueror. The numbers told the story of her evolution. The 21-year-old from Quezon City had not only avenged her Australian Open loss to Parks, but she had done it without ever looking vulnerable. The American who shares the record for the fastest serve in WTA history at 129 miles per hour had been neutralized by Eala's elite returning game. The Filipina's consistency, patience, and tactical intelligence had been too much for raw power to overcome. "This recent milestone in DC, my first championship, it's been a crazy 24 hours," Eala admitted, her voice still carrying the weight of everything she had just experienced. "And my mind's just been going back and forth between focusing on the next match." Despite the whirlwind, Eala remained grounded. "I do look at rankings from time to time, but it's not like something I'm checking after every match," she said, acknowledging her rise to world number 20 without obsessing over it. So I think my main focus is to win more matches. And obviously the priority is kind of the level that I produce in such matches. That perspective has become her trademark. She entered the DC Open as a rising star. She left it as a champion. But Eala knows that the journey is far from over. The $7.43 million WTA 1000 prize pool beckons, and the potential showdown with reigning Wimbledon champion Linda Noskova looms large. Yet for now, she's focused on what she can control. "I'm learning how to handle it," she said of the rapid transition from Washington to Toronto. "I'm slowly transitioning while I have a day to transition." The Filipina community has already turned Toronto into a homecoming. With tickets sold out and the Filipino community in the Greater Toronto area, over 250,000 strong, expected to pack the stadium, Eala is embracing the support. "It's nice to see that the Filipino community is really showing up," she said. "They're enjoying tennis, and hopefully it will help grow the sport as well." What would you do if everything you'd ever worked for was finally within reach? For Alex Eala, the answer was simple. She would keep fighting, keep believing, and keep proving that the girl with ruffled socks and light-up shoes had come too far to stop now. A 129 miles per hour serve can end points before they even start. It's a weapon that has terrified opponents since the moment Alycia Parks unleashed it at the 2021 US Open. But Alex Eala had done her homework. And on Wednesday night in Toronto, she turned the fastest serve in women's tennis history into a weakness. Parks shares the distinction of the fastest serve in WTA history with Venus Williams, having fired a 129 miles per hour missile at the 2021 US Open. That kind of power usually translates to easy holds, quick points, and frustrated opponents. But against Eala, the American's biggest weapon became her biggest liability. The tactical battle was won before the first point was even played. Eala had learned from their Australian Open meeting in January, where Parks came back from a 6-6 first set defeat to win 6-3, 6-2. The Americans' raw power had overwhelmed Eala when the Filipinas' level dropped. This time, Eala had a plan. She stood inside the baseline on return, taking the ball early, denying Parks any rhythm. She attacked the second serve relentlessly, exposing the vulnerability that comes when the first delivery doesn't fire. The statistics told the story of a tactical masterpiece. Eala broke Parks' serve twice in the first set alone, converting on 4 of her 9 breakpoint opportunities across the match. The key number, 63.3% of points won on Parks' second serve. Against a player who relies on her first strike to dominate points, that's a devastating statistic. It meant that every time Parks missed her first serve, she was essentially handing Eala the point. The contrast in styles couldn't have been starker. Parks, a 6'1" American with explosive power, was built for first-strike tennis. Eala, a 5'7" left-hander, used angles, consistency, and court coverage to dismantle her opponent. The Filipinas' speed and court craft had neutralized the Americans' power and serving prowess. For Eala, the victory was about more than just revenge. It was about proving she could handle any weapon the WTA could throw at her. What would you do if you had just neutralized the fastest serve in tennis history? For Alex Eala, the answer was simple. She would trust the game plan, trust the preparation, and prove that raw power is no match for precision and patience, because she knew that the next challenge, reigning Wimbledon champion Linda Noskova, would require an entirely different strategy. The victory over Parks was decisive, the revenge was complete. But for Alex Eala, the real prize in Toronto extends far beyond a single win. Because the WTA 1000 stage offers something that the DC Open never could. A $7.43 million total prize pool and the chance to compete for the biggest paycheck of her career. The National Bank Open is one of the most prestigious events on the WTA calendar outside the Grand Slams. The tournament offers 1,000 ranking points to the champion, double the 500 points Eala earned in Washington. The financial rewards are equally staggering. The 2025 edition had a singles champion's prize of $752,275, a figure that has increased by almost 44% year over year. For Eala, the financial stakes are unlike anything she's faced before. A deep run in Toronto could push her past the $1 million mark in career earnings for the year. Her breakthrough 2025 season had already netted her $907,777. With her DC Open title adding another $252,000 to her earnings, a strong Canadian Open showing could push her past $2 million in career prize money. But the financial rewards are only part of the story. The real prize is the ranking points. Eala entered the tournament as the 25th seed, having climbed to a career-high 20 with 2,106 points after her Washington title. She is now in the top half of the draw and in a position to make a run that could surpass her own expectations. The path to the title won't be easy. Eala is in the lower half of the draw alongside reigning Wimbledon champion Linda Noskova, who has beaten her twice this season. The Czech star has won 83% of her first serve points against Eala in their previous meetings and finished with 33 winners to just 15 unforced errors in their Berlin semifinal. That's the kind of firepower that can dismantle even the best defenses. But Eala has already proven she can conquer the best. She had a winning streak against top 10 opponents and improved her overall record to 9-4 after victories over Swiatek, Pegula, Svitolina, Gauff, Osaka, and Paolini. Now, she stands on the brink of another breakthrough. What would you do if the biggest payday of your career was within reach? For Alex Eala, the answer was simple. She would keep fighting, keep believing, and keep proving that the girl with ruffled socks and light-up shoes had come too far to stop now. She conquered the fastest server in tennis history. She silenced a packed stadium in Toronto, and now Alex Eala stands just one win away from a showdown that could define her career. The $7.43 million WTA 1000 prize pool is within reach. But standing in her path is the woman who has beaten her twice this season and the one who knows exactly how to break her. Reigning Wimbledon champion Linda Noskova. The Czech world number 7 is the player who ended Eala's Berlin Open run with a clinical 6-2, 6-4 victory just weeks ago. Since then, Noskova has ridden that momentum all the way to the Wimbledon title, cementing her status as one of the most dangerous players on tour. But here's the twist that the Czech star doesn't want to admit. The Eala that Noskova defeated in Berlin is not the same player arriving in Toronto. Since that loss, the Filipina has won her first WTA Tour title, climbed to a career-high number 20, and defeated 5 Grand Slam champions or finalists in a single tournament. Her victories over Olympic gold medalists, defending champions, world number 10s, 4-time Grand Slam winners, and the world know. 3 have transformed her from a promising talent into a genuine title threat. Noskova undoubtedly enters any rematch as one of the tour's elite players. But she also knows she could be facing a vastly different opponent this time around. For Eala, the mindset is clear. She has already proven she can beat the best. She has already defeated 5 players who have held Grand Slam titles. And she has already shown that she does not back down from the biggest challenges. The path is set. The stage is ready. And the tennis world is watching. A victory over Noskova would not only avenge 2 painful losses, it would send a message to the entire WTA Tour that Eala is not just a flash in the pan. She is a force to be reckoned with. The Filipina community in Toronto has already turned the Sobeys Stadium into a homecoming, and, with a sellout crowd behind her, Eala has everything she needs to complete the greatest summer of her career. What would you do if everything you'd ever worked for was finally within reach? For Alex Eala, the answer is simple. She would keep fighting, keep believing, and keep proving that the girl with ruffled socks and light-up shoes can conquer the world. Because she knows that she is not just chasing a title, she is building a legacy. Imba.